The moment your eyes open, the world rushes in. Before your feet touch the floor, thoughts begin. Endless lists, yesterday's regrets, tomorrow's worries. Most people lose their morning before they even taste it. They wake up already defeated, already scattered, already somewhere else. But what if the first words you speak to yourself could shift everything? Not just your mood, but the entire current of your day. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like water. It takes the shape of whatever contains it. If you begin your morning with chaos, chaos becomes your container. But if you begin with stillness, with intention, with truth, something shifts. You stop reacting to life. You start responding from a place of clarity. In this video, I'm sharing 7 morning affirmations rooted in Buddhist wisdom. Not empty phrases, but truths that rewire how you meet the world. The 4th one might be the hardest to accept, but it's also the most freeing. Before we begin, you might choose to like this video for mornings when you need to listen again. Let's begin. Affirmation 1. I am the sky, not the weather. Every morning, emotions arrive uninvited. Anxiety, doubt, frustration. They show up like clouds drifting across your inner landscape. And most people make the same mistake. They believe they are the storm. They say, I am anxious. I am angry. I am lost. But Buddhism teaches something deeper. You are not the weather. You are the sky that holds it. This isn't just poetic language. It's a shift in identity. When you say, I am anxious, you become the anxiety. You give it your name, your power, your sense of self. But when you say, anxiety is here and I am noticing it, you create space. Suddenly, you're no longer trapped inside the feeling. You're witnessing it. Imagine standing outside during a thunderstorm. The rain pours, the wind howls, but you know it will pass. You don't panic. You don't think the storm is permanent. Now imagine applying that same awareness to your emotions. Anger arises, it will pass. Sadness surfaces, it will shift. Fear whispers, it will fade. The sky doesn't resist the clouds. It doesn't push them away or cling to the clear moments. It simply remains, vast, open, unchanging beneath it all. That's your true nature. Not the noise, not the mood swings, not the endless mental chatter. You are the quiet awareness beneath it all. So this morning, when the first wave of emotion hits, pause. Place your hand on your chest. Breathe in slowly and say to yourself, I am the sky, not the weather. Let that truth settle in. Let it remind you that no feeling defines you. You are larger than any single moment. You are the space where life unfolds, not the chaos passing through. This one affirmation can change how you navigate your entire day. Because when you stop identifying with every thought and emotion, you stop being tossed around by them. You become grounded, centered, calm. Not because the storm disappeared, but because you remembered who you really are. Affirmation 2. This moment is enough. We live in a world that constantly whispers, not yet, not enough, keep going. Before your coffee cools, you're already thinking about what's next. The emails, the deadlines, the things left undone. The present moment becomes a waiting room for a future that never quite arrives. And in that endless chase, peace slips through your fingers. Buddhism calls this the trap of becoming. We believe that happiness lives somewhere ahead, after the promotion, after the relationship, after we finally fix ourselves. But here's the truth most people never realize. Nothing in the future will feel different if you can't be present now. The mind loves to argue with reality. It says, "This moment would be better if you had more money, if people understood you, if circumstances were different." But every time you reject what is, you create suffering, not because the moment is flawed, but because you're at war with it. Say this affirmation slowly. This moment is enough. Not because everything is perfect, not because you have everything you want, but because this breath, this heartbeat, this single second is the only place life actually exists. The past is a memory. The future is imagination. But this is real. When you accept the moment as it is, something unexpected happens. Tension dissolves. The urgency fades. You stop bracing against life and start moving with it. You realize that peace isn't found by changing your circumstances. It's found by changing your relationship with them. Try it right now. Look around. Notice where you are. Feel the weight of your body. Hear the sounds in the room. This is your life. Not later, not eventually, right now. And when you stop resisting it, when you stop wishing it were different, a quiet gratitude begins to surface. That doesn't mean you stop growing or striving. It means you stop making your peace conditional. You stop saying, "I'll be happy when," and you start saying, "I am here now, and that is enough." Most people spend their entire lives waiting for permission to feel okay, waiting for the right moment, the right achievement, the right validation. But Buddhism teaches that the permission was always yours to give. This moment doesn't need to be fixed. It just needs to be lived. So tomorrow morning, before the rush begins, before the world makes its demands, whisper to yourself, "This moment is enough." Let it anchor you. Let it pull you out of the future and back into the only place where calm actually lives. Because once you stop running from now, you realize you were never missing anything. You were just too busy searching to notice what was already here. But there's something deeper happening beneath these affirmations. Something most people overlook entirely. It's not just about what you say to yourself. It's about what you stop believing. The real transformation happens when you start questioning the stories you've been telling yourself for years. The ones that play on repeat. The ones that feel so true you've stopped examining them. You know the narratives. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. Nothing ever works out for me. These aren't facts. They're habits dressed up as truth. And every morning you don't challenge them. You give them more power. Buddhism teaches that suffering isn't caused by the world. It's caused by our attachment to false narratives about the world. You're not broken. You're just believing thoughts that were never meant to define you. And the moment you see them for what they are, just thoughts, just patterns, you reclaim the space they've been occupying. Affirmation 3. I am not defined by my past. Your past is a collection of moments. Some beautiful, some painful, some forgettable, but none of them are happening right now. Yet so many people wake up each day carrying yesterday like a weight around their neck. They replay old conversations, old failures, old wounds. They let what happened years ago dictate who they're allowed to become today. Buddhism offers a liberating truth. You are not your history. You are not the sum of your mistakes, your losses, or the things you wish you could undo. Those experiences shaped you, yes, but they don't own you. The person you were 5 years ago made decisions with the awareness they had at the time. That version of you did their best. And now? Now you have new awareness, new choices, new capacity. When you say, I am not defined by my past, you're not erasing it. You're releasing its grip. You're saying, that happened. I learned. I grew. and now I move forward. This is radical forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. Because the heaviest chains we carry are the ones we place on our own wrists. Think of a river. It flows over rocks, through valleys, past fallen trees, but it doesn't stop. It doesn't cling to where it's been. It moves, always forward, always adapting. That's the energy you're cultivating. You honor the past without letting it block your flow. Every morning is an invitation to begin again, not because yesterday didn't matter, but because today offers something yesterday can't: a fresh start, a clean slate, a chance to choose differently. You don't need permission from anyone to let go. You don't need to earn the right to move on. You simply decide, today, I choose to be defined by who I'm becoming, not by who I was. And when you make that choice, something shifts. Old identities start to loosen. You stop introducing yourself through your pain. You stop using your past as an excuse to stay small. You realize that growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. So speak it out loud. Write it down. Let it sink into your bones. I am not defined by my past. Say it until you believe it. Say it until the weight lifts. Say it until you feel the freedom of knowing that every single morning you get to decide who you are. Affirmation 4. I trust the timing of my life. We live in a culture obsessed with speed. Everything is urgent. Everything is late. We compare our chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20 and wonder why we're falling behind. But here's what Buddhism quietly reminds us. Life doesn't operate on your timeline. It operates on its own rhythm. And that rhythm is wiser than your worry. You're not behind. You're not missing out. You're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. The delays you're frustrated by, they're often protection. The doors that closed, they were redirecting you. The things that didn't work out, they were making space for what will. But trusting the timing of your life requires something most people resist: surrender. Not the kind that gives up, but the kind that lets go. You do your part. You show up. You work. You try. And then you release the obsession with when and how it all unfolds. You stop forcing. You stop rushing. You start trusting. This doesn't mean sitting back passively. It means acting with intention and then allowing the universe to respond in its own time. Think about planting a garden. You prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water them. But you don't dig them up every day to check if they're growing. You trust the process. You trust the unseen work happening beneath the surface. Your life is the same. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because the result hasn't arrived doesn't mean it's not on its way. Growth is often invisible until suddenly it's undeniable. When you say, I trust the timing of my life, you're choosing faith over fear. You're choosing patience over panic. You're reminding yourself that you don't need to have it all figured out right now. You don't need to know how it's going to work. You just need to keep showing up, keep believing, and keep moving forward. One breath, one step, one day at a time. There's a Zen proverb that says, the obstacle is the path. What if the waiting isn't wasted time? What if it's preparation? What if the detours are actually shortcuts to a version of yourself you couldn't have reached by going straight? Stop measuring your worth by someone else's timeline. Stop punishing yourself for not being where you think you should be. You're not late. You're not lost. You're unfolding exactly as you're meant to. And the more you trust that, the more peace you'll feel. Not someday, but right now. So every morning, place your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath and say it like you mean it. I trust the timing of my life. Let those words quiet the rush. Let them soften the pressure. Let them remind you that life isn't a race. It's a journey, and you're right on time. But knowing these truths isn't enough. There's one more layer, a practice that ties it all together. Because peace, real peace, doesn't happen by accident. It's built through intention, through small daily choices that compound into a completely different life. Affirmation 5. I choose presence over pressure. Most people don't lose their peace to tragedy. They lose it to Tuesday, to the endless, ordinary grind of a life lived half awake. You're not fully here because you're already thinking about the next thing, the next email, the next task, the next problem. Your body is in one place, but your mind is scattered across a dozen different timelines, regretting yesterday, worrying about tomorrow, never quite landing in today. And that's the trap. You think you're being productive, but you're just being busy. You think you're managing your life, but you're actually missing it. Presence isn't a luxury. It's not something you get to after you've handled everything else. Presence is the foundation. Without it, nothing you do will ever feel like enough. You'll finish one thing and immediately start stressing about the next. You'll achieve a goal and barely pause before chasing another. You'll spend your whole life waiting to arrive at some imagined future where you finally get to relax, only to realize you never actually lived. Buddhism teaches that this moment, right now, is all you ever truly have. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened. The only place life exists is here. And when you're not present, you're not alive. You're just anxious, distracted, somewhere else. So what does it mean to choose presence over pressure? It means catching yourself when your mind starts racing and gently bringing it back. It means doing one thing at a time and doing it fully. It means pausing before you react, breathing before you speak, noticing before you judge. It means letting your morning coffee be just that, a quiet moment of warmth and stillness, not a backdrop to scrolling or planning or stressing. It means listening to someone without already planning your response. It means walking without your mind sprinting ahead. Presence is a rebellion against a world that wants you distracted, hurried, and half there. And every time you return to the now, you reclaim a piece of why, ourself. You stop being a machine and start being human again. Tomorrow morning, before the day pulls you in 1,000 directions, stop, sit, breathe. Say it softly. I choose presence over pressure. Let that be your anchor. Let that be the thread that keeps you tethered to what's real. Because the richness of life isn't found in how much you accomplish. It's found in how deeply you show up. Affirmation 6. I release what I cannot control. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from effort. It comes from holding on to outcomes you can't guarantee, holding on to people who've already chosen to leave, holding on to versions of yourself you've outgrown, holding on to a future you've decided must unfold in exactly one way. And the tighter you grip, the heavier it gets. Buddhism offers a truth that's both simple and staggering. Suffering is born from attachment, not from caring, not from loving, not from trying, but from clinging, from believing that your peace depends on things going a certain way, from tying your worth to results you can't fully control. But here's what most people miss. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what was never yours to carry. You still show up. You still give your best. You still love deeply. But you don't collapse when things don't go according to plan. You don't break when people disappoint you. You don't lose yourself when life takes an unexpected turn, because you've learned to hold things lightly, to participate fully without demanding a specific outcome, to love without ownership, to try without attachment to the result. Think about a river. It doesn't force its way through the landscape. It flows around obstacles. It adapts. It moves with the terrain, not against it. That's the energy you're cultivating when you release control. You're not giving up. You're giving over. You're trusting that life has the intelligence you can't always see, that what feels like a detour might actually be the path, that what looks like failure might be redirection. Every morning, practice this release. Place your hand over your heart and say it. I release what I cannot control. And then name it, silently or out loud. Release the need for that person to change. Release the timeline you've been clinging to. Release the outcome you've been obsessing over. Let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because holding on is costing you your peace. And peace is too precious to trade for the illusion of control. Affirmation 7. I am worthy simply because I exist. This one might be the hardest to believe. We've been conditioned to think worthiness is earned, that you have to achieve, perform, produce, prove, that your value is tied to your output, your success, your likability. But Buddhism whispers something radical. You are worthy simply because you are, not because of what you've done, not because of who you know, not because of what you've accomplished or how much you've grown. You are worthy because you're alive, because you're here, because existence itself is sacred. You don't have to earn the right to take up space. You don't have to justify your needs. You don't have to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to be healed to be whole. The world will try to convince you otherwise. It will measure you, rank you, compare you. It will tell you that you're only as good as your last success, your latest achievement, your most recent approval. But that's a lie. A painful, exhausting lie that keeps you running on a treadmill that never stops. Your worth isn't conditional, it's inherent. And the moment you truly accept that, everything shifts. You stop performing. You stop proving. You stop apologizing for existing. You start showing up as you are. Imperfect, evolving, enough. So say it every morning until it sinks past your mind and into your bones. I am worthy, simply because I exist. Let it be the truth that holds you when everything else feels uncertain. Let it be the foundation you return to when the world tries to diminish you. Because you are not too much. You are not too little. You are exactly enough. And that has always been true. These 7 affirmations aren't magic spells. They won't instantly erase your struggles or solve your problems. But they will shift something inside you, quietly, deeply, permanently. They create space where there was tightness. They plant seeds of calm in soil that's been overrun with worry. And over time, with repetition, with patience, they rewire the way you meet each day. Buddhism teaches that transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens in the smallest moments, in the breath you take before reacting, in the thought you choose not to believe, in the morning you wake up and decide to speak differently to yourself. That's where freedom lives, not in some distant future where everything is perfect, but right here, in the choice you make today. So let's talk about how to actually use these affirmations. Because knowing them isn't enough. You have to let them live in you. Start your morning before the world starts you, before you check your phone, before you scan your messages, before you let the day's demands flood in. Pause. Sit at the edge of your bed. Place your feet on the ground. Feel the weight of your body. Take 3 slow breaths, and then speak one affirmation aloud. Just one. Let it be the first thing your mind hears. Let it set the tone before anything else can. Some mornings it'll feel true. Other mornings it'll feel like you're lying to yourself. That's okay. Say it anyway, because repetition creates pathways. The more you speak these truths, the more your mind starts to recognize them, not as wishful thinking, but as reality. You're not convincing yourself of something false. You're remembering something you forgot, that you are more than your anxiety, that peace is not a reward for good behavior. It's your natural state, that you've always been enough, even when the world made you feel otherwise. Write them down if that helps. Keep them where you can see them, on your mirror, in your journal, on a note by your bed. Let them be gentle reminders throughout the day, because the mind is stubborn. It will try to pull you back into old patterns. It will whisper doubts. It will replay fears. But each time you return to these affirmations, you weaken the grip of those old voices. You strengthen the new ones, the ones that speak with compassion, with clarity, with truth. And here's the part people often miss. These affirmations aren't just about feeling better. They're about living differently. When you truly believe that your thoughts are not facts, you stop letting them control your choices. When you know that everything you need is within you, you stop seeking validation from people who can't give it. When you accept that nothing outside you can disturb your peace, you move through conflict without losing yourself. When you choose presence over pressure, you start noticing beauty you've been too rushed to see. When you let go, you create room for what's meant to find you. When you release control, you stop exhausting yourself trying to manage the unmanageable. When you know you're worthy simply because you exist, you stop shrinking, stop performing, stop waiting for permission to take up space. This is how inner work becomes outer change. You don't just feel different, you show up different. Your relationships shift because you're no longer clinging or controlling. Your work improves because you're no longer paralyzed by perfectionism. Your days become lighter because you're no longer carrying imaginary weight. You start to notice synchronicities, doors that open, people who appear at just the right time, opportunities that align, not because you forced them, but because you made space for them, because you stopped interfering with your own flow. Buddhism reminds us that we suffer when we resist what is, when we argue with reality, when we demand that life look different than it does. But peace comes when we soften, when we accept, when we work with life instead of against it. These affirmations are tools for that softening. They help you stop fighting yourself, stop judging yourself, stop abandoning yourself every time things get hard. And yes, some days will still be difficult. You'll still feel anxious. You'll still worry. You'll still struggle. But the difference is this: you'll have a way back, a path home, a set of truths that ground you when everything else feels shaky. You'll know that the storm is temporary, that beneath the noise there's stillness, that you are not broken, you're just human. And being human means feeling everything, holding it lightly, and choosing again. So start tomorrow, or start right now. Pick one affirmation. Say it slowly. Let it settle. Don't rush past it. Don't perform it. Just speak it like you're talking to a friend who needs to hear the truth. Because that friend is you, and you've been waiting for someone to remind you of who you really are, not who you should be, not who you were yesterday, but who you are beneath all the worry, all the pressure, all the noise. You are the calm. You are the awareness. You are whole, worthy, and more powerful than you've been taught to believe. Let these affirmations be your morning practice. Let them be the first words that shape your day, and watch how slowly, steadily, everything begins to change. Not because the world is different, but because you are. You're no longer at war with yourself. You're no longer waiting for permission to be okay. You're simply here, breathing, alive, enough. And that, in itself, is the greatest affirmation of all. Each morning is a new beginning, a chance to choose peace over panic, presence over pressure, trust over control. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to begin, and then begin again. That's the practice. That's the path. And it starts the moment you open your eyes and remember, you are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not your past. You are the one who gets to choose what comes next. So choose wisely. Choose gently. Choose you. The affirmations you speak each morning don't just shape your day. They shape your life, not through force, but through repetition. Not through perfection, but through practice. You don't need to believe them fully right away. You just need to begin. Start with one. Let it be the first thing you hear in the silence of your own mind. Let it settle before the world rushes in. And over time, you'll notice something shifting, not dramatically, but deeply. The old patterns loosen. The harsh inner voice softens. The peace you've been searching for starts to feel less like a destination and more like a homecoming. Buddhism teaches that the longest journey is the one from your head to your heart. These affirmations are the bridge. They help you cross from knowing to being, from thinking to living. You already have everything you need. You've always had it. These words are simply reminders, gentle echoes of a truth you forgot but never lost. So tomorrow, before anything else, speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love, because that someone is you. And you've been waiting long enough to hear it.